If you were to explain for somebody that never ever tried the wines of Spring Mountain wines, what would you say?
They really are. They drink more feminine and lean, and there's this great acid structure that is the backbone of our wines. No matter what winemaker made them or what year it came from, what decade, the through line for Spring Mountain has always been this backbone of acidity that keeps our wines lifted. It keeps a dance in the glass. You know, there's some levity. So with a backbone like that, and with wines that typically have lower alcohol, always under 15%, sometimes under 14%, depending on the year. We're actually going to have one in just a minute. But with that sort of structure in the glass, it really allows aromas and flavors to reveal themselves and to showcase. So, you know, on the nose, there's always a beautiful bouquet of savory herbs de Provence, some forest floor, and then in the glass, bright red fruits.
Tell me the background of this fantastic wine estate here.
It starts with two brothers, the Beringer brothers, back in 1870, who planted their first mountain vineyards here. Shortly thereafter, the Lemming family from Germany, the first to plant Cabernet Sauvignon on this mountain range. And their ranch occupies the very top of our property today. Fortune Chevalier started his beautiful Chateau Chevalier winery that was the largest producer of California wine by the turn of the 19th century. And then you have where we're at here in the home of Tiburcio Perret, who built this beautiful Victorian mansion in 1885 and had ancient olive groves and terraced orchards and vineyards and even some tobacco, some Havana seed tobacco. So you take all of these Victorian era estates that in their own way each had their own different legacy, whatever it was. They were combined in the 90s under a prior owner to make, at the time, Napa's single largest contiguous estate at about 847 acres. And then from that point, he closed the doors for about 10 years. And for just over a decade, this place was shrouded in mystique and mystery and a once prominent brand, a brand that was a participant in the Judgment of Paris, that had won a blue ribbon at the Chicago World Fair and had made headlines, was all of a sudden owned by someone who's very mercurial and shrouded in mystery. So today, Spring Mountain is kind of poised for this next chapter where we've opened the mountain back up and we're bringing guests inside this beautiful home.
Tell me about the production. Where do you do that? And the cellars, where do you have that? And the barrel rooms?
Spring Mountain is what you would call a closed loop system. At least that's what I call it. So the best thing there is that all of our fruit is estate. So everything comes from our own mountain vineyards right here. After harvest, we ferment everything in single lots. So we have 135 different blocks on this mountain, and we'll ferment those individually at our winery that's right here on the property. The élevage program, which is typically for reds anywhere from 20 to 24 months, happens inside our historic caves. And then they're bottled at our own bottling line inside the winery and labeled and returned back into the cave. So quite literally, Pierre, from that glass all the way back to the grape, the raindrop even, the water's never left this property.
So please tell me now, what do we have here on the table and what are we about to test?
So we are going to taste through the decades here. We start with 1979 in the left, 1988, and then 1998. So very indicative of what Spring Mountain represents, which is wines that age very gracefully and for a long time. That acid structure that I spoke to helps, and the mountain fruit, right? Very concentrated berries, along with that acid structure, enables for our wines to be incredibly long-lived. So that's what we're going to taste right now. In the 79, you'll start to taste and really smell those savory herb components that I spoke to earlier. Yeah. Perfect.
So what do we have here in the first glass?
This is our 1979 Estate Cabernet Sauvignon. And so dried rose petal on the nose, those savory herbs. The fruit is more of a dried component, right? It's not fresh from the farmer's market. You notice the acid structures keeping that dance. But the tannins are pretty much gone at this point.
So Garrett, what do we have then in the second glass here?
So we're going to move into 1988.
Yeah.
And, 88 for most was a difficult decade. It's when you started to see the industrialization of both the farming process and the winemaking process. The science that was coming out at the time just was really inspiring to winemakers. They were able to tinker a lot more in the cellar. That's something that Spring Mountain never leaned into too much. We've always considered ourselves kind of a non-interventionist winemaking philosophy. So we're really trying to translate the vineyard as best and as honestly as we can. And so I think that's what's represented here in the 88. For me, it paints the whole canvas.
Yeah.
It checks all the boxes. You have fruit still. That's alive in the glass. You're starting to get a layered nose with savory herbs and dried rose petal.
What can we find then in the third glass here?
So we're gonna head into the 90s, in the 98. And again, this wine is 27 years old now. So for many producers, you're starting to see wine that falls off a cliff and is really past its peak. For us, for a non-interventionist winery and for our unique mountain terroir, it's really only the beginning. So you're starting to get some depth.
Yeah.
You're starting to get some nuance. The unique thing about wine, but also the frustrating part, is it undulates. It changes day to day, month to month.
Please tell me about the range. How many labels do Spring Mountain have?
So Spring Mountain really focuses on 4 distinct wines, 2 whites, 2 reds, both over the years and also going forward. So our 2 whites are Sauvignon Blanc, being a Bordeaux variety, that absolutely makes sense, but also Chardonnay, which you're starting to see a lot less of here in the valley. You definitely see it on the Sonoma side, but for us, it's a part of our story, a big part of our story, the Judgment of Paris. So those are the 2 whites. The 2 reds that we focus on is an estate Cabernet Sauvignon and then a Bordeaux blend. So the estate Cabernet Sauvignon is something that I would say is what we do at our core. This mountain has always produced elegant Cabernet.
If you were to give an advice to a young person that wants to work on an estate like this, what advice would you give?
I'd say never lose your passion for this. Most people who make their way into the wine industry do it because they love it. So don't lose that. Whatever romance attracted you to this industry, this business, keep that fire in the belly. Find things that inspire you, and if you can hold on to that and continue to find that inspiration, success will find you. Second thing that I would say is be patient. Be patient with your vineyard, be patient with your clientele. And the third piece of advice that I would give is have fun, find the joy.